In a world of seemingly endless podcasts comes what many would call another one. Welcome to the Two Men podcast with your hosts Tim Matson and Phil Powell. Now please join these two confirmed men, that's two moderately entertaining nerds, as they take you on another podcast adventure that's guaranteed to be funny. Or not. This week the two men discuss Pokemon Go.
Yay.
Welcome to another edition of the Two Men podcast.
We got to do that again because I stepped on you.
You're terrible.
And I don't mean that. I did not actually.
I'm not going to do it this time. You have to do it.
All right. This is my imitation of Tim starting the podcast every week.
Sake.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. He tries to come in.
I do not sound like that.
Yeah, he tries to come in.
That sounds like an AM announcer. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly how you come in. Hey, it's like, hey, we're just sitting here. We happen to have microphones. Hey, there are microphones here. Oh, hey, everybody. It's like
I'm trying to be casual for the listeners, like they're good friends that just happen to stop by.
None of our listeners are good friends. Maybe.
Are you kidding me? I think all of our listeners are friends.
Not after listening.
Well, although, shout out to the two people in Australia.
Oh, yes.
And the one person, which you didn't know about, one person in Canada.
Oh, my gosh.
We're international, Phil.
Man, I'm going to get closer to the mic and talk special, everybody.
Super sexy.
Use my low. What happened to that radio show where they used to do romance things with the guy?
You talking about the Delilah?
Yeah, Delilah. Whatever it was. I want to send out a special note to my lady who went through
when I think
times
about
with me.
Heartthrob stuff, I always think of like...
Is romance dead then? Do they not do romance radio anymore? You know, that was kind of like romance radio.
I always think of, here's a long-distance shout-out from Lonely
That's
in
Casey
Seattle.
Kasem.
Yeah.
He's a long-distance shout-out. There was that.
Lonely in Seattle writes, I never thought I'd find my soulmate. Then I went to the laundromat.
Yeah.
It's just sappy stuff like that.
The top 40, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you wouldn't know what songs to like.
Yeah. That used to be the thing. You would have to listen to the top 40 so that you would know what everybody else liked.
Casey Kasem. It's too bad what happened to him at the end. That was a whole big thing.
It is kind of too bad. Yeah, I mean, he up and quit. That was the whole thing. Talk about going out while you're on top or going out unexpectedly. I mean, he just announced 1 week, I'm done, and I'm leaving the show.
I thought he had not been doing it for years.
No, he did the show right up until he knew he was having problems, and he just announced one day that he was done with the show and thanked everybody.
Didn't he get replaced by
keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars?
Yeah. Didn't he get replaced by Rick Dees?
Rick Dees, the weekly top 40. Yeah.
Right, yeah, because wasn't that like one of those transitions where...
Didn't he do his own top 40, though?
I can't remember. You know, this is one of those things. When I realized that the top 40 was an illusion, I stopped listening.
It was a complete illusion,
It was like, I'm being manipulated into perceiving things that aren't necessarily true.
But you know what? I think, honestly, there was cultural value to that manipulation because we had common culture then.
Yeah, common experience, yes.
So that was, on one hand, kind of nice because... you knew that everybody else liked Little Red Corvette by Prince.
Right.
And so you had something to talk about and some song to talk about.
Right.
When you were
in controversy. It'd be like, oh, I can't believe it slipped to number 2. Not that I talk like that, but, you know, you could.
Of course not.
We haven't even announced our topic, and we're like 3 minutes in. And Tim, here's the debate that happens before we do any of our...
You're going to reveal our secrets?
Yeah, I'm going to reveal behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. Tim and I say, can we really talk for a half an hour about that? And I always say, we can talk about things we don't know about.
The thing is, I'll go you one better. Before every podcast, I say, can we really get a half hour out of that? And then after we're done, you say, I can't believe we just talked an hour and a half about that. So, spoiler alert, there's a lot that hits the cutting room floor here.
That's right. A lot of ideas, a lot of good ideas.
No, there's not very many good ideas.
No, you're right.
There's a lot of bad ideas that hit the cutting room floor.
We should have called this show The Dregs. The dregs of the ideas, yes. I'm going to do the intro.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Phil.
And Tim.
We've inverted it. Ha!
I just want to know... Are we doing this intro in the middle of the show?
Apparently.
Okay.
Apparently.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I like flipping the script every once in a while.
You're editing this, so...
What?
Yes.
In that case, I'm just shutting it off at a half hour and we're done.
Well, that's probably true. In case you wanted to cut off that whole beginning part, we're going to talk about Pokemon today.
Pokemon Go.
Okay. So
specifically.
you know more about it than I do.
And
so
by more, that's very marginal.
I mispronounced the name of this thing for years.
That's okay. I intentionally irritate my son by calling them the Pokemans.
Yes. Well, I thought I would just be poke.
You don't see the accent. I can't remember if that's accent aigu
How many?
or accent grave in French, whichever one it is. That's
we
for
don't
our
have-
French-Canadian listener.
That's right. Oh, for the Canada people.
Will you please write in, let us know which one that is, and also comment on my terrible French accent.
That's
there.
right. Oh, oui, oui. Oh, that's all we got.
That's offensive.
That's the training we received in acting school.
I don't think that's true.
Oui, oui. Actually, I did a show recently where I had to use a French accent.
What show would you have possibly done with a French accent?
Is He Dead? It was you didn't see it.
Clearly.
Yes.
I
But anyway,
think I would have remembered if you did a French accent.
It was set in France. Yes, it is. Charlie. I just committed copyright infringement because I said some of the dialogue from the show. But I learned how to fake a French accent on YouTube.
Did you really?
Yeah. You'd be
Wow.
surprised what you can. It's like how to do a quick French accent. And, it's like you can learn the basics.
That's cool.
So
Clearly, you've mastered it.
I did. Well, for a audience in the South, I think I read like a
Probably,
French. I think
yeah.
I read like a Frenchman.
Yeah. As long as you're north of Louisiana and south of Washington, D.C., you're probably fine.
Right.
So
this-
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go, yeah, this seems to be taking off like a rocket.
It is. It's ridiculous. Pretty much everybody is posting pictures of Pokemon sitting on all kinds of things.
Why is this interesting to people?
Why is it interesting?
The fact that there are virtual creatures, I don't, what is it?
At its core,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about collecting. The catchphrase for Pokemon is, you got to catch them all,
Right.
right? And so it appeals to the completionist
Mm-hmm.
in us. And after you've completed your whole array of Pokemon,
Right.
you also want to level them up. So it's all about numbers. It's all about seeing numbers rise and go up and being able to have higher numbers than the other people.
Are you competing against other people online?
I just started it today, so I don't know
he's
enough
a
about
newbie.
it. I am a noob.
Do people experience like battle rage or anything like that with?
Hulk out because of Pokemon?
Yeah.
I suspect so. I mean, pretty much anything makes people mad.
Right.
There's not a subject in the world that someone has not gotten mad at or about.
That's true. We should get mad at more things.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No. Oh, we've had our first argument.
That's it. Podcast is over.
That's right.
I want custody of the kids.
You've got them. I'm keeping the recorder, though.
That thing?
Yeah.
That thing?
All
You
right.
can have it.
Yeah.
I'm keeping the screwdriver it takes to turn it on, though.
Yeah.
So you'll be out of
Talk
luck.
about behind the scenes. This
Wow.
is definitely on the cutting room floor.
It is definitely, absolutely going in. So Pokemon Go.
Yeah. This is totally going nowhere, guys. I got nothing. I thought.
What do you mean you got nothing? This was your idea.
Yes, you're right. It was. It was my bad idea that Tim authorized. I didn't understand Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand anime. I don't understand the visual style, or I guess I'm not an appreciator of it. I mean, I see that it has skill. I mean, you drew that and it has characterization.
I don't like the dismissive tone in your voice.
That's all I got. It's dismissive. It's just like, I couldn't tell, is that a fox or a dog or a person or...
In some cases, it's yes. That's the answer.
Yeah,
It's a fox dog person.
Fox dog person.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that was my reaction. So I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. I know how I'm supposed to feel about a fox or a dog or a person, but I don't know how to feel about a fox dog person.
Well, I think anime helps you appreciate another culture because you do have to know a bit about Japanese culture to appreciate some anime, not all. There's some that are very straightforward. They're just like Western stories,
Right.
only they have a different sensibility. So a lot of the times they're very easy to follow, but other times there are cultural aspects of it that just don't translate. Like, do you know what a yokai is?
No.
Okay.
What's a yokai?
It's like a spirit.
Okay.
The Japanese believe in a lot of spirits
Right.
that inhabit different things. Like they'll have a shrine to the river spirit, or there'll be a yokai that haunts a house of some sort, or brings
Right.
ill fortune to people that cross this bridge. It's a superstition that they've developed in their
Right. It's
area.
part of their lore.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like for the Western audience, maybe the Headless Horseman.
Right.
You're afraid of the Headless Horseman that when you cross the bridge, he's going to throw the pumpkin at you. It's kind of along the same lines. It's a local superstition.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of other aspects to it. A lot of anime centers around a high school environment or an educational environment because they're a very driven people when it comes to education. Education is highly important, and people go to cram school. There's a lot of emphasis on, you'll find a lot of anime that refer to cram school so that they can get into a good university.
Where was cram school when we were going to school?
I don't know that it would have helped.
I mean, I used to cram.
I did cram, yeah. I remember doing a lot of cramming before finals, during
And
finals week.
Here's the thing: where did that word come from? That's a weird
Cram?
Cram.
Oh, it makes total sense. You're trying to cram as much information into your
I
brain as
guess.
possible.
But I guess because when it became to cramming, it seems like a different word to me.
It's the difference in if you're going on vacation and you're going to pack your suitcase
Right.
so that all the clothes in there are easily usable, they're folded nicely, you pull them out and you can use them again.
Right.
Cramming, I mean, you just stuff everything you can into that suitcase. So when you pull it out, it's maybe usable, maybe not.
Right.
It's the same way with knowledge. If you're studying for a physics exam and you're basically
Right.
renting that knowledge. You're
Right.
just sticking that stuff in there long enough to get through a test, but not long enough that 10 years from now you'll be able to solve a physics equation.
Right. I remember cramming a lot in high school. That was not fun. I don't know why we did it.
I never had a problem in high school. High school was fine. It was when I got to college and found out that I actually did have to study. That's
Right.
when I had a problem.
So were you
because I
like
didn't
a
have
valedictorian of your high school? I mean, was it easy for you?
I found school quite easy up until a certain point. Once I got to college,
So what does that say about you or your school?
I don't know. I think there is a case to be made for I was fairly smart as a kid, and also
Until the accident
well, until that fateful day.
on the farm.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Or, that maybe standards weren't what they should be in Midwestern schools, maybe. I don't know. I'm not throwing bricks, but I guarantee you, my kids, if they had to meet the academic goals that I had to when I was in high school, they could have slept through half of it. Standards have changed so drastically.
You think they're harder now?
Rigorously harder.
Wow. All right.
They are so much harder. How many advanced placement courses did you take in high school?
I think I took an art one, which doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like
but
0.
My son took, I don't know, half a dozen. And so after his first year in college, he's the equivalent of finishing his sophomore year rather than his freshman year.
Wow.
They have a lot more placed on
I
them,
know
and there's a lot more pressure now to be good in school than there was when we were kids.
Interesting, because that's not my perception. But I've been known to be wrong.
That's the problem. I mean, a lot of here I'm going to jump to the defense of the millennials. Millennials out there, I'm with you.
We have so many millennial listeners.
So many millennial listeners, I'm sure.
Those are our Australian listeners.
Maybe. So millennials in Australia, I'm going to jump to your defense. There's a large misconception that millennials don't have any work ethic and don't have a lot of pride in their work or whatever. I think that's a bunch of crap because there's a lot expected of them anymore. The world is a much more complex place than it was when we were kids and when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot less was required of us then, frankly, to be honest. And standards are higher. More is expected of them in shorter amount of time. They're expected to master skills in a much shorter amount of time than we did. And there's a lot of pressure put on them, especially testing. You're hitting a passionate spot for me. Testing is one of the most terrible things we're doing to our educational system. Mm-hmm. By measuring it in some way, we are hurting it.
Right.
Because we place so much emphasis on that measurement, which is their performance on that one particular day.
Right.
that it completely discounts what they've done the entire rest of the school year. All it comes down to is, on that one day, did you have the answers to these questions we wanted to know?
Right. The best class I ever took was typing.
I loved Mr. Gerard in typing class. That was great.
You know, of all of the classes, that was an elective. If you can believe it, typing was an elective.
Yeah.
And of all of the classes, it seemed the least offensive to me. But I still, to this day, use the typing class that I took. Thank God I took that typing class. I cannot imagine my life in the digital age without the ability to type.
The quick brown fox jumps over
the lazy dog. Yeah, whatever.
Dog, is that it?
Yeah. Well, now we're back to Pokemon dog person.
So Pokemon Go.
Dog person, yeah.
Yeah. So my first Pokemon was a Charizard.
Wait, what?
That's what I caught first.
A what?
A Charizard. You can go off all you want to. I'll just bring it back to Pokemon Go. It's fine. We can talk about typing.
All right. I don't know how we got there. I think it was cramming. Cramming typing. Typing Pokemon.
Yeah, so I caught a Charizard this morning. That was my first Pokemon. I was very excited.
Is this like
looks like a little orange lizard that's on fire.
All right. How do these characters interact? What's their world?
Well, their world is being in this little tiny ball prison until you let them out to fight another one. So it's really quite horrific, to be honest. So they're out enjoying their little lives in the world.
Right.
And then you roll up with this tiny little plastic ball, which you throw at them.
Yeah.
And then they have to live in that little tiny ball until you find somebody else that you want to fight. And then you throw that little ball down and they come out. And then they have to beat up the other Pokemon before going back into their little ball.
So the moral lesson here...
Yeah. It's basically like anime slavery.
They're like gladiators.
They are like gladiators, yeah. But on the plus side, they get candy.
Well, that's ample reward
at
for
least
killing.
That's how Pokemon Go works. Is you
for
give
killing
them,
somebody else.
No. Well, that's how you level them up and give them more power. You give them some candy and Stardust.
Candy and Stardust.
Candy and Stardust
Works with me.
Sounds lovely, doesn't it?
It does, actually.
Low in calories, Stardust. I caught my Charizard on top of my cat's head. It was living on top of my cat's head.
Did your cat...
She didn't seem to mind. No,
okay.
She didn't mind.
Did your cat have an opinion on Pokemon?
I don't think so. I think the cat was fine, and then I tossed the little ball out there and picked it up off of her head. And
dogs care less for Pokemon, from what I've been reading.
They might think they're snacks. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Who's in charge in Pokemon world?
The professors. The Pokemon professors. So,
see, listeners,
the very
Tim
first you
is
start,
totally informing me. I don't know anything about this world.
I could be making this up.
Oh, you're right. You could be. I would
should
know.
Totally make something up and tell you this.
Yeah, I would believe it.
Oh, that would be lovely.
But I might
I'm
question
not.
it.
You can trust me. I'm not going to make something up to make you look dumb.
Dumb, yeah. Looking dumb relative to Pokemon, I'm fine with that. I have no problem being like, hey, his Pokemon skills, I can't even say it. His Pokemon skills, they're limited. His knowledge is weak. It's like
pretty weak sauce.
It's like he didn't even watch the show. I don't know. What's that all about?
I've never watched the show.
Well, then how do you know about it?
Well, I mean, it's like a cultural phenomenon. I mean, it's been in card
Isn't that a little strong?
No, not in the slightest.
Oh, it was a game.
Yeah, it's been a video game. It's been a card game. It's been an anime. I mean, it's
I remember the card
movies.
game. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cultural phenomenon. And now that it's this augmented reality game that you play on the go on your phones and stuff. So it's like the natural evolution of it, really, because it's all about going out into the world and finding these things and capturing them and then training them. And
how are you confident that you're pronouncing all these names correctly?
Like Squirtle? Yeah, I'm pretty confident that that's right.
I don't know. I'm less convinced.
How about Bulbasaur?
Bulbasaur?
Bulbasaur, yeah.
I don't know. That sounds
that sounds like a Pokemon?
Are these can't be original Japanese names, are they?
I don't know. I think some of them are. I mean, obviously, it's come to the West and it's become very popular in the West as well. So I'm sure that some of these names have been westernized. I don't know. I do know that Pikachu is like the mascot. It's like a little electric mouse-looking creature.
Right. Is it the yellow one?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, you know that
one. Yeah, the yellow one.
Sure.
I know that. So when I would see that, I would go, "Oh, that's that
little
game that people play." The
electric rat. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know how to feel about it. Because I didn't know, but you're telling me it's a rat?
It's cute, little
Yeah, it's
yellow.
got a smiley face.
Yeah.
In the absence of
And
anything
it's got a
else.
little lightning bolt kind of tail.
If you were to just zoom in on the face, it'd be like a smiley face.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a smiley face.
It's a very friendly mascot.
But if you were to take the face away, it would look
that
like...
sounds horrific. You know,
I mean, but I'm just saying, it's artistically, it would look like...
Be this little poor little yellow thing going... It sounds awful.
Yeah, again, our acting skills are just up. That was muffled?
Well, I'm going for it has no mouth, like
Right,
Harlan
so-
Ellison, I have no mouth and I must scream.
So that's muffled. You'd be going for muffled.
It would be muffled.
Yeah,
Is that not muffled enough?
No, actually, I thought it read fine.
Okay,
I was
thank
just
you.
making conversation.
This is the worst podcast ever.
Possibly. So, Pokemon.
So Pokemon Go.
I don't know anything about it.
So the way it works is...
So tell me about the universe
There are
again.
different locations around that are called Pokestops. A place where Pokemon tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah.
In the real world, it would be places like the Guilford Courthouse.
All right. Because they're
Or
in trouble with the law?
No, it would be famous sites or sites of note.
Okay.
Like on UNCG, the statue of Minerva, the Spartan
Okay, so they're
statue.
around...
They
okay.
they tend to congregate around places of note. Like Geeksboro is a Pokestop. The Geeksboro Coffee House.
Okay.
And you can go in there and you find these Pokemon around and you capture them.
So from a business model standpoint, if this becomes popular, are in essence they going to go to business owners like Geeksboro and these other places and go, if you want these digital creatures to show up at your place and people come here, it's going to cost you 10 Pokemon bucks.
That possibility could exist, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, if it generates traffic, it only stands
It's definitely going to generate traffic. I mean, there are articles all over the internet of people gathering in places in large numbers.
So if it generates traffic and I'm a place that wants traffic, I can't see how you wouldn't monetize that. Confession, I have never played a game on my phone.
Really?
Never. Have zero.
Never.
The experience for me is too small. I just don't.
Interesting.
I've been faking knowledge about Candy Crush for the longest time.
Of all the things to fake knowledge about.
Well, because people play it all the time. And so you have to pretend. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah, but
like
see, that belongs in the gaming ghetto. I mean, that's perfectly fine.
I
to
wouldn't
not
even know.
Yeah, that's garbage.
I think games on phones are invented so that people don't have to think of entertaining posts for social media.
I think it's a way that you can get through lunch with people that you don't like.
Well, that would be the phone in general.
Yeah. Well, let's say you were someone was driving you to Illinois.
Right. For those of you who may not remember before we had phones, when we used to drive places, we actually had to wait until we got there. We sat in the back seat, 3 of us, 2 if you were lucky, and we actually, I don't know what we did, but we didn't look at our phones.
We poked each other until Dad threatened to pull the car over and kill one of us or both of us.
Right.
Or maybe just leave us in some random town somewhere.
Right now, I think if you told a group of kids that you were going to get in the car and drive to Florida,
We drove to Florida from Illinois.
Right.
That was forever.
But without phones. I think they would be like,
imagine.
You've got to put me under general anesthesia.
And I got to tell you, as a parent, I would not want my kids to do that. I would be like, for the love of God, get your phones out and find something to do. Quit poking each other.
Right. What was the thing where you would draw with the letters? I mean, this is when I was quite young. Not with the letters, the numbers.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, there'd be an image. I'm so old, I've forgotten the name.
I swear to God, you sound like Abe Lincoln, like drawing on a back of a wooden shovel by light of the fire.
So I know you did this. All kids still do this, or at least I assume so.
I don't know.
Maybe not. There are numbers on a page.
Are you talking about connect the dots?
Yes, connect the dots.
Oh, okay. We didn't say anything about dots. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. The key word being
numbers.
Dots.
You drew the numbers. I'm like, that sounds exciting.
What's the number?
Look, I drew a 1.
That's right. Connect the dots. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Connect the dots. Sure.
That was pretty popular with parents.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it as a child.
Oh, I always liked it.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it.
What about it did you like?
The notion of putting your pen down at 1 and then moving it to 2 and then 3 and 4 and 5. It has a certain methodical appeal to me.
Now, see, I would look visually and go, oh, it's going to be a cowboy. but I would
yeah,
still complete it.
Yeah, they're not terribly mysterious.
Mm.
I mean, look, it has a horsetail. I wonder what it might be. So Pokemon Go.
We're still on Pokemon Go. The topic.
The second one I caught
that
was
won't die.
Rat-a-tat.
Rat-a-tat?
Yeah, a rat-a-tat.
Rat-a-tat. It's
There
not
you go.
Ratatouille.
No, not Ratatouille. It's like what you would do with a drum.
What is it?
It's a rat.
Okay. It seemed a little
It's
obvious.
not terribly difficult to figure out. That one's a rat. Yeah.
Right.
I also caught an Eevee. Each one of these evolve into other forms. They have like a second stage and a third stage, and you can choose which way they evolve in some cases.
By evolve, what does that mean? Like they mated with something and
Well, they
went
basically, it's like leveling up.
up? Okay. So it's a level up kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like, this is normal me. This is super powerful me.
Exactly.
And then this is extra super powerful
Right,
me.
exactly.
All right. So it's a different,
Yeah.
so it takes a different name. Well, it's kind of like Super Mario. You know,
What?
Super Mario. Wasn't that Super Mario? There was Mario.
Are you?
And then there was
Are you saying that Mario leveled up and became super? Is that what you're saying?
well, when he got all flashy and ran around, isn't that super?
That's pretty super. Yeah.
I mean,
agree.
I don't know if that had another name.
I don't know why. Why did they call him the Super Mario Brothers? Why
I guess
why
they
the
felt
super?
as though they needed an adjective.
Maybe the
You know,
Mario
it's-
Brothers wasn't enough.
Mario Brothers is like adequate. Mario Brothers wasn't selling, or they didn't think they
But
could
he
make
had
that
some
fly.
Super strength Mario
Oh no,
Brothers.
you don't understand. It's Super Mario.
It's a me, Mario.
Yeah,
You're my Luigi. That's what you are.
sure. I'll go with Luigi.
I'll be Mario. You can be Luigi.
What'll we do?
What would we do? What?
What would we do? Yes, if you were Mario and I was Luigi.
Well, I mean, you would help me save my girlfriend, the princess.
Wait a minute. I don't like this dynamic already.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden you're in charge.
It's true.
You're making the decisions.
It's my name on the box, man. It's
It
not
does-
Super Luigi Brothers.
It's not
for
Luigi.
a reason.
Oh, Super Mario. Okay,
Uh-huh.
now I see.
Yeah.
Now I see the
Now
dynamic.
you see how it works.
All right. Now I see how this podcast is going to play out.
It's
all right.
It's all a power play.
That's right. Oh, over our international
Podcast.
Let's say it together.
International.
Wow, that was pretty exciting.
That was exciting.
Yeah, that was
Feels
double,
good.
Double testosterone from us.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty
I am.
impressive.
I'm totally going to get you some little overalls and a green shirt, and you're going to be Luigi. I'm going to dress you up.
That's fine because then
Sounds
I
kinda
can
sexual, but-
mock your leadership skills.
Such as they are.
That'll be
I would like to point out that one of us arrived today with a list of goals and things set out for us, and one of us did not.
I tried.
Spoiler alert, it was me.
Surprisingly, I noticed it. I'm the improviser.
Yeah.
I'm the master
Yeah.
improviser, which
Yeah.
I believe is the
Like,
character
the
that
thing
you.
he improvised today was that 1 o'clock is at 2 o'clock.
That's right. Oh, no.
Oh, the gauntlet is down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Somehow there was
you know
a
what?
time change
That's
today
right.
that I didn't
Hey,
know about.
I'm still on Central Time.
So is that the excuse? That's what it is. Whatever.
Oh.
So Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go. I don't know nothing about Pokemon. And I think that's what we can
I don't
conclude.
know nothing about both of no Pokemons.
I don't, or anything about them. And that's what we know. And thank you for enlightening me, Tim.
So we're going to close out with a new segment. Instead of doing Instant Opinion this week, we're going to totally rip off Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
He does his whole segment of Clueless Gamer. I'm introducing a new segment called Clueless Otaku.
I was just victim of that.
Yes. I just screened an episode of a random anime. This week's anime was Moon Phase. I screened an episode for Phil, and now I would like for Phil to summarize for me what happened in that episode. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Tell me the story of the final episode of Moon Phase.
There's a bunch of people living in a house on a boat in the middle of the ocean. I don't know if they're family. I don't think so. A little bit, maybe not.
Why
And
is the house in the middle of the ocean?
I don't know that. That was not
Okay.
revealed. That
All
was
right.
not revealed in the episode. I'm just telling you the premise.
Okay.
Is there's
No,
a bunch of
that's good.
people living in the in this house on a boat in the middle of the ocean with an SOS written on the top. Some of them want to be rescued off of this predicament. Some of them don't really care or know about it. And some of them appear to be related, and some of them appear to be in sexual relationships. And
the ones that are related or not?
That's ambiguous.
Okay.
It is ambiguous.
Okay.
There were times I felt pretty uncomfortable. I didn't know. And there's a mystical creature that was that one of the girls, I guess, is mean to Arte. Arte is mean to one of the mystical creatures and almost drowns her. This causes consternation. There's sexual shenanigans between there's a lot of people without noses. There's a lot of people without noses.
Okay. Does that bother you?
It does.
Really?
Only the old guy had a very distinct nose. It's like the younger you are, less nose. Less nose. I don't know what that means. Maybe but the old guy, he would go hunting in his swan outfit into the ocean.
How did you feel about that?
At that point, I was totally, it was like, fine, whatever.
Okay. So you were willing to go with anything at that point?
Yes, he was. Okay. And artistically, they mixed it up, too. It was a big metaphor and for, I guess, your ability to live within the circumstances that you have. That's how I would interpret this. But the mean sister went and she uncorked the house cork, and so
she took the cork out of the house. Is that
right?
What's
That's correct. She took the cork out of the house.
Okay.
There's a computer guy in the house.
All right,
and he knows things. He's the one who's only aware of the danger. He's aware of what he perceives to be the reality of them living on a house in the middle of the ocean with apparently no resources. And there's some dirty secret about an octopus. And
what do you think the secret is about the octopus?
No idea.
Okay.
I know that it was bad, but it seemed to both humanize and dehumanize the octopi at the same time. A little curious about that. But there's again, it changed styles. There's a cork. There's the computer guy who believes that they can be rescued. Comes down because he hears somebody's voice after the old man comes back from hunting, and he's successful, and there's sexual tension again between the two characters. And then
what are the two characters that have sexual tension?
The older, I would assume old man, and the less old person that's not an adolescent. And the brother freaked me out because he was always good and always. The voice freaked me out. There's a brother boyfriend. Again, ambiguous. Arte uncorked the house not once but twice.
Okay.
And the last time turned out to be the worst because the house sank.
Right.
And then presumably everybody would die. But considering there's a lot of metaphors and a lot of the waves don't look real in this, there's a lot of metaphors and analogies and whatnots going on here. So you don't really know what they're doing.
Lots of whatnots. Okay.
So the house
you're
goes
saying
down.
that the ocean isn't real?
Probably not.
Okay.
Because they represented it visually as a not real thing, as a cardboard theatrical device. So I would assume sometimes that's the signal they're trying to send.
Okay.
So, and then she uncorked the house sank, everybody presumably drowned, but of course they didn't, because the last shot of the sequence was them having dinner, which was the very first shot of the entire sequence of the episode, laughing and giggling, and they're inside of a whale. It's revealed. They pull back, so they're inside of another habitat.
So it's like a biblical thing, like Jonah.
Jonah, I guess so. I didn't really get that, but I got that it's a new world within a world that they're able to inexplicably both exist in a place that they shouldn't be able to exist. It almost sounds like they planned it. I'm making it seem like art, but it really wasn't, mostly.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this episode?
I have nothing to compare it to, so it's either got to be a 10 or a 1. So I'm gonna go with 8.
Okay, that sounds great. I approve of that.
Moon phase has something to do with the water moving around. Definitely saw water moving. And,
So
and people's alternating moods.
That's what the anime is about then.
Sure, I'll go with that.
Cool.
That's what I think it's about.
Excellent. I'm so pleased to have exposed you to this. So that has been Clueless Otaku with me, Tim.
And me, Phil.
Greetings. I am Alice, highly paid digital assistant to the two moderately entertaining nerds of the Two Men podcast. Want to let us know what you thought of the show? Have a topic you'd like to hear discussed? Feel like demanding your money back? We'd love to hear from you on 2 out of those 3 questions. Drop us an email at twomencast@gmail.com. In the meantime, please rate us and leave a review on iTunes or your podcast service of choice. Also, for all discussions moderately entertaining, you can find us at facebook.com/2mencast. Please join us again next week when we'll be guaranteed to be funny. Or not.